Hey guys, so one of the things I really wanted to see in episode 8 was the use of the Knights of Ren. I mean, we saw them in episode 7, and even though we really don't know anything about them, we saw them for maybe like few seconds in the flashback scene that Rey had, or the flash forward scene, whatever it was. They just looked extremely cool, kind of like you see Darth Maul for the first time, and you're like, who is that, what is that, and what is he all about? But unfortunately, we didn't get it. And Rian Johnson is now going to explain the reason for that. He says, we have a very full movie already. There literally was just no room for another element. I guess I could have used them in place of the Praetorian Guards, but then it would feel like wasting them because all those guards had to die. And if Kylo had some kind of connection to them, it would have added a complication that wouldn't have helped the scene. Truth is, I just didn't see a place for them in the movie. Now, while a lot of that might make sense, I think the real reason is because he knows that JJ Abrams wrote those characters and he didn't really have a complete place for them. I do believe that he did know at least where Snoke would end up in episode 9 and that he wasn't really important. If they were using Palpatine the entire time and they didn't just decide to throw him in there in episode 9, which I really don't think they did. I think he was planned to be in there all along, kind of like how George Lucas always wanted him to be in the 9th film back when, even before he sold it to Disney. Now, here's what bugs me about his explanation. I just don't really buy it, or at least buy all of it, because he had enough time to put, half an hour of Canto Bight, which really was such a boring and lame scene to me, that he could have at least put a little bit of story or something into the Knights of Ren. So saying that he didn't have time for it because there were too many other characters or whatever going on, I just don't really buy that explanation or that excuse. He also said that Luke didn't have time to cry or mourn for Han Solo because we didn't have time in the film. There's no such thing as no time in the film when you're writing the entire story. So I feel like these answers are just beating around the bush when the real answer is because JJ Abrams wrote these characters and he's the one to finish them. So if Rian used the Knights of Ren as the Praetorian Guards, I feel like that would have definitely been a waste because they were such a cool character that we wanted to know more about. Clearly the fans really loved them, and they would have just died really quickly, and that just would have been a big waste of a character. I almost prefer it that Rian didn't go into any detail whatsoever of the Knights of Ren, because now we can have JJ complete their story, which was, how he wrote them out in episode 7, and now we're going to be able to see that followed through in episode 9. So personally, I have some very conflicting theories when it comes to the Knights of Ren. They could be, either clones of a very powerful Force user, the failed clones perhaps, kind of like we saw in the Force Unleashed game where they had to clone Galen Marek so many times or clone Starkiller so many times until they got it right. Or they could be these ancient Force users that are, adorning this helmet that is kind of like Lord Momin, and they're becoming possessed by, ancient Force beings or something like that. Now, I'm going to go into detail in another video about this, but I think the reason that Kylo is hunting them down, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he is hunting them down in the episode 9 trailer, I think it's because they're actually going after him because he killed Snoke. Or another theory could be the fact that, Kylo just doesn't feel the same way he does anymore that he did in episode 7 with them, or whatever, whenever he was last with them, and he wants to follow his own path, and they almost won't let him. I guess, we will find out in episode 9. I'm very excited to know more about these characters, and now I hope, this video gives you some insight as to why we didn't see them or hear about them at all in episode 8. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.